You are about to enter a great adventure.
This is Strutting From Gorilla.
It is February 1st, and it is Royal Rumble Day. It's a very special day for Strutting From Gorilla, which is why we're doing this special live stream with you guys today. So we're really happy to be here with you guys. Glad you can join us. I'm Mikey Cash. That's Vito. We are SFG. You look at the ticker at the bottom. That's all our social media. Follow us. Subscribe to us if you like what you're seeing on the live stream. We'd really appreciate it. But let's get to the matter at hand. Vito, happy Royal Rumble Day.
Happy Royal Rumble Day, Mikey Cash. You know, this is the first time we are live. I want to do a cheap pop and say, welcome YouTube, and then the crowd goes wild. But we are only live on YouTube here. This is our first time. I have no idea how it's going to go. First time ever live.
I know. The crowd is going mild. Well, it might go wild later, but right now it's mild.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we thought it was a good time to talk about the Royal Rumble. We got a little half-hour episode here, a little sneak peek, give our 2 cents and what's going on tonight. Big things happening, Mikey Cash.
I know. It's really interesting. I feel like the buildup for this Rumble, in my view, has been really good. They've done a really good job of building up a lot of the different stories that are going into the Royal Rumble match itself. So I don't feel like in past years, how you can kind of get into the Royal Rumble and you can just like pop into that Rumble and not really care about a majority of the folks that are going to be participating in it. But this year feels very different. And I think that's definitely a shift under Triple H.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's what I like about this match. We talk about it all the time. There's 4 things on the card for this match. 4. I think that's great. I mean, think about it. You would go back probably 5-6 years ago. You'd go into the Royal Rumble and they'd be trying to stuff, I don't know, 7-8 matches in this event. And it becomes a 6-hour event and it's too much. We got 4 quality matches and I'm excited for all of them. I mean, if you consider the Royal Rumble a match, you got the men's and women's Rumble, right? Then you got the best out of 3 tag team match.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens.
Yeah, it's a really solid card. And to your point, Vito, I think the less is more. I feel as though that has been the philosophy that Triple H has taken on, where the cards are a little bit smaller, but the quality of the matches that you're getting are a lot better than what we used to get. And, when it comes to even like the runtime of a show at this point, I almost akin it to, how baseball's made the pitch clock rule to try to make the games a little shorter, right? To make it more palatable. I think we're seeing a similar strategy in how they're structuring these pay-per-views. And even in how they're in changing the start time, right? These start at 8 and it could end at like 11 or 12 o'clock at night. That's late for anybody, especially when it used to be on Sundays and everybody had work and school the next day. Now, tonight it's starting at 6 o'clock. So you could, even if this goes, a little longer than we might typically see a PLE lately go, where it's like maybe 3 or 4 hours, it ends at 10 o'clock. So I feel like in general, what the changes that they're making to how they structure these shows are definitely in service of catering to a larger general audience.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm excited about it. We for those of you who don't know, we do a pool every year. It's really interesting. We got 30 entrants. You can buy a slot, and then I pull names out of a hat with what entrant you get, and it makes it really interesting. So yesterday we did a live poll, got all our numbers, and excited to see who we get here. But let's dive right into it, Mikey.
Yeah,
let's talk. Let's talk a little bit. You want to do men or women's Rumble first?
Let's start with the women's Rumble first.
Women's Rumble. Okay. Let me ask you this question. You think the women's Rumble is going to open it up, or do you think the men's Rumble is going to open it up?
I feel like I think personally, I want the women to be in the main Rumble this year, because the last couple of years they haven't been. I think the last time it happened it might have been when Bianca won it in 2021. So I feel like they're due. But I do, in reality, I think the men are going to be the main Rumble. I think the women are going to open it up.
Yeah, I would also agree with that. So let's talk about the women's Rumble. Let's talk about the women's Rumble first.
Well, damn, we got Charlotte coming back.
Got Charlotte coming back. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching a lot of the media hype, but CM Punk was on Pat McAfee's show, which, by the way, big fan of Pat McAfee's show. I don't know why. I feel like if we did a podcast, Mikey, that's kind of what our podcast would be like.
A couple of jabronis.
Just a bunch of morons talking about wrestling. But CM Punk came on, and he had Stephanie McMahon. And what I love about it is they're actually wrestling fans, so they talk about it a good amount. But CM Punk was on there, and they are asking about AJ Lee, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's been the thing. And he was pretty it sounded like he was trying to get away from talking about it. And he did a pretty good job, but like once you let that cat out of the bag, it's hard to backtrack, right? I feel pretty confident that she's going to come back in the Rumble tonight.
You think so?
I feel pretty confident. I mean, they've been teasing it pretty hard. I think now CM Punk is in a good place, and I think she maybe can feel a little bit better about coming back, and it's not the same place it used to be. But I mean, let's be honest. This WWE women's division is stacked right now. I mean, it's been stacked for a while.
Yeah.
But we're at the point now where I almost think the women's division in WWE is outshining the men's division. Like there's just so much good talent there.
Yeah. It's taken a long time for them to get to this point, but I'm so glad that they're finally here, because not only do we have 2 world champions, but now we have even mid-card titles. So it's sort of this like fully flushed out women's division, if you really look at it. And that gives so much more room for more storytelling and for more characters to get TV time. And clearly the audience is invested. So the time that they've put into these women is paying off. And I think it's so cool to see. Like I'm looking forward to this Rumble almost more, if that makes sense. Like not the men's Rumble stacked. Don't get me wrong. There's gonna be a lot of people in that match that I'm really excited to see. But when you look at all the hitters in this match, so we got Charlotte Flair coming back. We got Bayley, who won the Royal Rumble just last year. Nia Jax, which I know your personal feelings about her, but she is so much more improved, and she's had a really good year since she's come back to WWE. Bianca Belair, who is in the middle of this little, whatever this storyline is with her and Jade. Jade herself, who is an absolute powerhouse and is one of my surprise entrants to sort of return at the Rumble. Naomi, who's had like a career year herself. She went down to TNA. She's come back, and she's just been a whole different competitor since. And then obviously the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour. Good Lord. I mean, Liv Morgan has had a talk about a career year. I think it's great. Not to mention Io Sky, Lyra Valkyria, Ivy Nile is another one. She's done really well with American Made, and she's kind of coming into her own. Chelsea, I could go on and on. I got to let you talk.
Well, I was just going to say, like, let's not forget about TNA, right? Like, they got this partnership with TNA. I think Jordan Grace, you're going to see her come in, maybe. I don't know. There's just so much that is literally going on in the women's division. I mean, and the crazier part about it is if you actually look at NXT, like we don't even talk about NXT really. Like
NXT is
it's more of a women's show than it is a men's show.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, you got Tiffany Stratton, who's the champion, right? I think everyone has enjoyed her. I think she's got a bright future. And then who's the other women's champion? It's
well, for the mid card. So I think the United States champion, that's Chelsea Green, who's been fantastic in that role. the world champion Rhea Ripley on Raw.
That's what I was thinking about.
And
Yeah,
then Lyra Valkyria is the Intercontinental Champion.
Yes. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see which, like, Charlotte Flair has traditionally won a couple of these, right? So
yeah.
Is she going to come back in the fold, and which belt is she going to go after? Is it going to be a match against Tiffany Stratton or Rhea Ripley? Is she going to win? Is it somebody new? It is very interesting to see. I'm excited about it. I mean, I don't know what else to say about the Women's Rumble.
I think. Who do you have to win it? Who's your pick?
Oh man, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna have to go Charlotte Flair. I think out of all the Rumbles, I don't know that I enjoyed her winning a couple of the others, but I think this is the moment for her. She's worked really hard to come back from that knee injury. I think she missed her WrestleMania moment last year. It's like the perfect setup for her if there ever was one. Who do you got?
Well, obviously, I think there's a lot of money on Charlotte being the one that wins it this year. But for me, I think it might be Liv Morgan. I think she has done too much in the last year. You also have the story of her and Rhea that isn't really done yet. So I think if there's room for Liv Morgan to be the one who wins the Royal Rumble and challenges Rhea, or Liv can end up challenging Tiffany Stratton too. We don't really know what they're going to do with Liv after WrestleMania. She could end up moving over to SmackDown, so they could have a way of doing just kind of leading her into the blue brand by having her go after Tiffany. But I think Liv is going to do it. She's been the runner-up the last 2 years. Maybe the third time's the charm.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hey, listen, we got a comment from a former podcast host, Bobby Stone, the leader of men.
Oh, leader of men.
Yeah, he thinks Brooke Hogan is going to make an appearance tonight. Here's my 2 cents on that. Good call out. I think this would be a terrible time for her to come back, though, because of all the heat that's on Hogan. I feel like she's going to get rubbed off with a lot of that heat. She probably doesn't want it,
Well, or maybe she does. Who knows? This could be really beneficial. She could come in as a real hot heel.
Maybe, but she literally just had a baby. I think it was like a week ago.
All right, so maybe it's a little too soon. But
yeah,
so Bobby, maybe she comes in. Maybe she's a manager. Maybe she walks somebody down.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, the other piece is, if you don't know and you haven't listened to any of our episodes, if you go back in the annals of time here when we started in about 2020, Bobby Stone was an integral part of the WWE stock price. And
he was the stock watch every week.
Every week he would say buy, buy, buy. And, nobody listened to him. And then what happens? TKO buys WWE and it blows up. So I don't know if you want to take other stock advice from Bobby Stone, but he's like the oracle of WWE stock. So anyways, good call out, Bobby. But we'll see what happens. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go into, we got like 15 minutes left here.
All right.
If you're listening, this is our first ever live episode of Strutting from Gorilla. So we're going to see how this goes. But let's get into the men's rumble. I think that's, what everyone's excited about. I got a lot of friends who are probably going to watch the Rumble this year that haven't watched it in years. So let's give them a little background here.
All right. Well, I mean, the Rumble this year is going to be absolutely stacked. Just some of the names that I've seen, and these are just the confirmed ones. We got John Cena, which this is going to be his very last Royal Rumble match. This is his last year as an active wrestler. We also got CM Punk, who's been making a ton of the rounds. He's been on SmackDown. He's been on Raw. He's been yelling it from the rooftops that he wants this WrestleMania main event, which I'm really enjoying that story from Punk because it's very true to life for him. It is something he's always wanted. It was something that was a big point of contention and was a large part of why he left in the first place 10 years ago. So the fact that he's back now, he got injured last year. He's recovered. He seems to be doing really well. Punk's got my money as the winner, just as my own Mikey Cash aside. Other participants in the Rumble, we got Seth freaking Rollins, who has been on a tear lately. He's got an interesting kind of character twist that's been happening. I don't know if he's sort of turning heel, but he's been a little whiny lately. So I think we might be seeing some sort of shift in his character. We also got the OTC. Roman Reigns is his first Rumble in like 5 years because he's just been champion the whole time. And it'll be interesting to see Roman and Seth in a match together for the first time in a while. Got Drew McIntyre, who continues to be on just an incredible role. I think he's just done some of the best work of his career over the last year. Sami Zayn, main event Jey Uso, Rey Mysterio, LA Knight, your favorite Vito, Logan Paul, Shinsuke Nakamura, Penta. I'm really looking forward to see what Penta does in the Rumble. Chad Gable, Braun Breaker. That's just to name a few. So, I mean, how are you feeling about the Rumble this year, Vito? Because I'm really looking forward to it. I feel like it's the most stacked it's been in a while.
Yeah, it's interesting because what a lot of times I do is I look at, all right, who is going to be, what is WrestleMania going to look like? Who is going to be going after the titles, right? And that's kind of how I back into it a little bit. If you look at this Rumble, there's a lot of possibilities. I think for some reason, I think it's time to see The Rock versus Roman Reigns, right? You don't need belts on those guys to have that as a main event or a co-main event. Yep. Will it happen? I don't know. There's rumors flying around. The Rock's not going to be at WrestleMania. I don't know if they're planting those rumors, so it's more of a surprise. You never know in this era of WWE.
It's all a work. So you don't know what news outlets are releasing it on purpose.
Exactly.
Throw you off the scent.
There's a lot of different areas. What I found interesting is WWE has done a great job of doing these long storytelling pieces, right? You go back when CM Punk first came in, he talks about Roman Reigns and wanting to fight Roman Reigns. But then he goes into a little storyline with Roman Reigns at Hell in the Cell, War Games, Survivor Series War Games. There's a lot of integral parts here. But last night, I don't know if you watched SmackDown, Mikey, but they interviewed Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens has been doing some good work too as a heel.
Some of the best work of his career.
Been doing great. So he comes out and he does this interview with the new announcer. I forget the guy's name, Mike Tessanari or whatever his name is there.
Joe Tessitore.
Joe Tessitore. Thank you.
Apologies to Mike.
Anywho, so he does the interview, and then CM Punk comes out, and my feeling is that the Final Four is going to be some mix of John Cena, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and The Rock. I think The Rock is coming back tonight in the Royal Rumble at some point. I feel as though the way they set the story up with Kevin Owens, I think Kevin Owens is going to screw CM Punk somehow. That's how he doesn't win it.
Wow.
That's my feeling. And then he faces CM Punk at the Rumble. That's what I think. Is that going to happen?
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's interesting.
I also want to say maybe John Cena wins the Rumble, right? Like, you think this is his swan song. Maybe he gets a chance, and then he faces Cody at WrestleMania, and that's a great WrestleMania main event. Think about it.
Would be a great main event. Absolutely.
The guy who is essentially taking John Cena's spot, right?
Yeah, that could be great. I think you're onto something. It also occurs to me that we haven't seen when it comes to Roman, right? I know that. Yes, I think ultimately they do want Roman and Rock to fight. So I don't know if either of them will win the Rumble. So when it comes to how that happens, we haven't seen Solo Sikoa since the Raw Netflix debut. I wonder if we're going to see him either just come back at the Rumble or, screw him out of it at the Rumble, and then, Rock gets eliminated some other way. But I think this will be, there's a lot of ways this can go. And it's the intrigue that draws you into the Royal Rumble this year. There's so many great stories for both the men's and the women's Rumbles. They've done a really good job of piquing our interest.
Yeah, no, I completely agree there. Completely agree. It could go a bunch of different ways. I'm excited about it. It's the first time in a long time I've Yeah, I always get excited about the Rumble. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's just different. It's unexpected. I'm a sucker
Mhm.
for all those surprise entrants. Like I love when like the old school guy. I don't think we're gonna see any legends come out tonight because there's just a jam-packed
Yeah,
card.
the divisions are so stacked now.
Yeah.
I don't know if they even need them.
No,
If
that's
they're
my
going
point.
to do anything, it's like you said earlier, I think there's gonna be some TNA people that are gonna make some debuts in, and
Right.
that would be really cool. Like, I can't imagine just the pop that Joe Hendry's gonna get when he comes in,
Yeah.
because I think they're saving that. That would be amazing to have him come in there. And like you said too, Jordan Grace, she's huge, and I'm pretty sure she signed a contract with WWE, so
She did.
I wouldn't even say she counts as TNA anymore, but she's like legacy TNA at this point.
Yeah. I also wonder about Alexa Bliss. We were talking about the women's Rumble.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They
another
keep
surprise.
saying she's not coming back because of contract issues now, and maybe that's just their way. It's a work, and she comes back and gets a huge pop. So we'll see. Rumble looks pretty stacked, but you know, I also don't count out. I mean, we talk about, you know, those big four. I think, like I said, my final is I think John Cena wins, faces Cody at the WrestleMania. I think CM Punk gets screwed by Kevin Owens and faces Kevin Owens at WrestleMania in like a street fight or something. And then I think somehow The Rock and Roman Reigns, something will happen there and they don't win and they face each other at WrestleMania, and that kind of sets it up. But
Yeah.
I don't want to discount the fact that if you have someone like a Braun Strowman, right? Like he could easily be a guy that comes in and wins. Like he's got potential. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not.
Yeah.
But
that one I don't see either.
But you don't know. Listen,
he might come in and have a ton of. He might like maybe come close to breaking the elimination record in a single Rumble. Like I could see Strowman doing something like that. If you really want to build him up, like okay, so he may not have won, but he caused some serious damage.
You know what I see happening with him? You know that move where he like sprints off the rope and he goes back and forth? I see him like.
Oh, you mean Braun Breaker? You were talking about. I
was talking about yes.
First, Joe Tessitore. You're witnessing it live here, folks. We need to take Vito to a neurologist.
Yes, I meant Braun Breaker. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't see Braun Strowman winning either, dude.
That's so good.
So anyways, back to my prediction. He's gonna end up like doing that move where he sprints rope to rope. And I bet you he clotheslines two people out of the Rumble with that move or something like that.
No, that's a good call. I bet you're right. That's a good call. That feels like a Royal Rumble spot.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So we'll see. But yes, I was referring to Braun that whole time.
That was so funny.
Oh, again,
right.
Hey, listen, if you're watching, you've never seen us before, like, subscribe. We got a podcast we've been doing since 2020. Go back in the library. We got some good stuff in there. One thing I want to talk about before we move on, we got a few minutes left before we're going to shut it down. Over the last couple of weeks, Black Bart had passed away. And yeah, there was an announcement about it. He had passed away from cancer, and you know, not that I want to use this as a moment to promote a book, but we had our friend Vinny Berry on the podcast probably like 6 months ago, and you can see the book is right here. It's a book about his life and his career. He's an old school wrestler, very influential within the industry. And I remember at the time, you know, Vinny came on and told us he wasn't doing very well, and he really wanted to see his book come out. And I think he got that moment right, unfortunately. So if you're curious about Black Bart, one of the best heels in wrestling history, it's a good read. Really check it out. You can go on the Wrestleville website and check it out. Vinny Berry is a great friend of our podcast. So but I just wanted to give that a little bit of a shout out because you know, it wasn't too long ago we were talking about him and talking about some stories from the book. There is an episode you can check it out in our library about the book. They'll give you some insight with the author Vinny Berry. So just wanted to make that point.
No. Thank you for making that, Vito. I know it's sad. It's sad.
Yeah.
No longer with us.
Yeah. So changing subjects though, back to the Rumble. Let's quickly just talk about the other two matches we have going on. I got to be honest. Let's go into the tag match first, and we'll end with the ladder match. Tag match, 2 out of 3 falls with DIY Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa versus Motor City Machine Guns. Give me your thoughts real quick, and I'll give you mine. And I think for people who maybe haven't been watching wrestling, DIY has been around for a while in NXT. We've had the pleasure of watching them live in person.
Yeah.
And they're a really good tag team. They fell apart due to creative and have come back together under Triple H, and one of the better tag teams out there. And Motor City Machine Guns have longly been a tag team that's been in the independent scene for a long time.
That's right.
They're serious veterans, and it's great to see them in WWE. And I think they're one of the better tag teams out there.
So absolutely.
So just to kind of give that background, they're a little bit newer. They actually won the titles, I think, in their first match or second match in WWE.
Yeah, it was really early.
Then lost it, and so I think this is going to be this is probably the lowest match on the card. I think this is going to be one of the better matches.
Yeah, I think it's got the possibility to sort of like surprise people, because I don't think there's much of an expectation about it, which I don't know why. I mean, both of these teams are so good, and there's a reason why Triple H put this on the card. I think he knows that these guys can deliver, and I think it's going to be something different than what we're going to see from every other match on the card. And I think that's sort of the variety that we're speaking about, that Triple H has been really good at providing recently in just the presentation of WWE. So those guys have that kind of indie style. I think it's going to cater to a certain like section of the fan base in particular. But if you just like pro wrestling, you're going to enjoy this match.
Yeah.
I mean, Gargano and Ciampa are two of the better wrestlers that I've seen. They were great when they were fighting each other, and they're even better as a tag team. Motor City Machine Guns, they've been around for 20 plus years. They're a stalwart in TNA. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe that could lend itself to some sort of TNA involvement. I mean, they have this working partnership. So I ever since they made that announcement, Vito, I can't get it out of my mind that like we're going to see some involvement somehow,
Yeah.
So I think this is could be a great showcase for them in a 2 out of 3 falls match in particular. And I really hope that the people that are not familiar with both of these teams really pay close attention, because I think you'll really learn something about just some of the different styles within professional wrestling.
Yeah, I think you're going to see more of a TNA style match here. I mean, not TNA, AEW style match here. Be a lot of boopity boppity flippity floppity exciting moments. Like it's going to be a wrestling match. Like if you like you said, if you like pro wrestling, this is going to be a good match. I think it's going to be underrated, going into it, but I think it's going to have some time and it'll be a good one. All right, let's talk about the title match here.
Yeah, that's right. Title for title.
Yeah, last one before we sign off here. Why don't you start this one off?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. It's a ladder match for basically a dual championship. So at Saturday Night's main event back in December, they had a one-night only deal where Cody Rhodes could come out wearing the old Winged Eagle championship belt. And for those of you that aren't familiar with this was a championship that was around from the late 80s all the way to like 1998, before the design changed hands. And for a lot of fans, this is their favorite design of the WWE championship, and sort of a definitive one for a lot of folks. So there's a lot of lore behind it, and which kind of lent itself to why it felt so important that Cody was able to wear this out, as it was a long dream of his to kind of bring this back. So part of this story is Kevin Owens has kind of attacked him after their match where he lost, and he's now taken on this championship and kind of made himself like a quasi champion. So I'm really not just looking forward to the match, but I also really appreciate how much stock they've given this Winged Eagle championship, because I don't know about you, but when this was going to happen at Saturday night's main event, I thought, all right, well, this will be a nice little gimmick just for a one night thing. But the fact that they've sort of continued on with it for the last month or so is actually really intriguing to me and makes me think, like, would they ever actually change it back? What's been the reception of it on like the back end to having that championship back out on TV? It's something I'm interested in. But the match itself, I'm really looking forward to. I think it's going to be more on the brutal side of a ladder match because both these guys aren't necessarily high flyers. So you'll see some things because Kevin Owens definitely has that capability. But I think this is going to be more of a hard-hitting, there's going to be some brutality in it. I look forward to seeing which one bleeds first. My money's on Cody. I think it's a Rhodes thing. I think he's going to bleed first, and he's going to bleed a lot. So what are you thinking about this?
Yeah, I think you're spot on with the blood piece, right? Listen, I'm a sucker for a good ladder match, so I'm excited about it. Listen, I love Cody Rhodes. I've said it from the beginning. What I think I enjoy about Cody Rhodes is his passion. Like, you can see he's like a student of wrestling, and he understands what's going on. He listens to the fans. Like, you can tell he just understands what's going on here. And you got Kevin Owens, who's been around for a while, and I've always enjoyed Kevin Owens too. And as a heel, Kevin Owens is great. And this has been set up for the last couple months with them being friends, and then Cody kind of starting this whole thing, saying, hey, you deserve a title shot, Kevin, and like reopening the can of worms that was Kevin Owens being selfish, saying he deserves this, and like really opening that can of worms. And it has kind of gone a little bit after WrestleMania. You've seen Cody Rhodes after his story was finished, like, what's next? And I think the story about him, like, not being able to handle the pressure, and you see him kind of like unraveling a little bit, is really, really cool. And I'm curious to see how it goes. I think ultimately Cody's going to win. And my prediction, he's going to go on to face John Cena at WrestleMania here. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Who do you have winning this one?
Oh, I have Cody winning it as well. But my caveat, well, not my caveat, but sort of my sidebar to it is Owens is going to enter the Rumble and could be like a dark horse to win it. That would be that would be great. If he just enters and kind of does what you were talking about, he just ends up screwing Punk.
Yeah.
So I think he'll immediately go into something else.
The only reason I say that is the way they ended the segment last night. Owens it was like CM Punk got the best of Owens. And I don't think, if you're looking at the story, Kevin Owens, that's not going to sit well with them. And of course he's going to come out and screw him. So maybe you're right. Maybe you're right in that aspect, but I'm excited about the Rumble. We wanted to do this live episode. First time we've ever done it.
This was great.
Yeah, it was awesome. So if you haven't had a chance, you don't watch us, like, subscribe, check out our podcast and our YouTube videos. Happy for any feedback. If you think we're right, give us a comment. If you think we're wrong, give us what you think.
I was going to say keep it to yourself, but yeah, sure. Yeah, write it out. Let us know. All right, guys. We're glad you guys can join us for this. It was a very special thing for us to come on here live. Be on the lookout. After this, we've been working on a new series of episodes that we're going to release for you guys. It's called For the Love of Wrestling. And we're going to be talking to friends and fans about their ever-evolving fandom of professional wrestling and really taking a deeper dive. It's going to be something a little different than what we've been typically doing for you guys. So we really hope you enjoy it. But in the meantime, it's Rumble Day. Enjoy it. Don't forget to point at the sign and keep on strutting, jabronis.